Big day.
All right, guys, fire away.
When you played them the first time, what would you say was the difference with Pack first half and the second?
Well, he was unbelievable both halves, but he just didn't get as many looks the second half. We did a bad job of being there on the catch in the first half, but give him credit. I mean, he was the best guard in the country that day. And we did a better job the second half just because we stayed connected to him, but he still got like 10 the second half, something like that. So I don't consider that locking anybody up, but he was great. And Noel was great for the entire game. And so, yeah, we were fortunate to get out of there with the W.
Is that the emphasis this time, just be there on the catch, like kind of like with Gibson?
We've talked some about it, but at the time of this, we haven't had a full-blown practice. So we went over scout report yesterday, but that's basically all we did, and shot, reserve shot, and then reserves did dry offense. But the starters got off their feet. So, yes, that will be an emphasis to take away as many looks off the catch. But when you do that, now you give little quick guards a chance to get their shoulders past you, and they touch the paint, and that opens everybody else up. So we just got to guard a lot better.
Speaking of that, one of their little guards, Noel, a lot of times in that game kind of made one of those drives towards the basket and kind of passed it back. How do you stop a guy like that whenever you're so good at, getting downhill? And so
Well, you just our ball screen defense has to be better. Our ball screen defense was awful over there. And hopefully it'll be better. It was better against West Virginia. I don't know if you noticed, but Curry got anywhere he wanted in the first game, and second game he didn't as much, although he didn't play near as many minutes. But we were much better then. Hopefully we'll be much better tomorrow at that too.
Bill, you pulled up tape from November of us and now in today's games. Where have we really made the biggest improvements? What areas do you feel like we really need to get much better in?
Well, sad to say, I think we're actually better defensively than we were. We've been pretty good defensively. I know I complain a lot in league play. I mean, if you look at league stats, which is all you should look at right now, because we've all played enough games to have a true sample size going against, comparable competition. It's gotten better. I think that one of the biggest things is the team that we thought we would have going into the season wasn't what we had to start the season because of Jalen Wilson, and the team that we thought we would have going into the season in the same now in February because of Remy. So I still don't think we're whole yet, but I do think that we've adjusted pretty well playing without Remy. To be honest, I think that even though we need him, there's no question about that, but I think the guys have adjusted okay to playing with one little guard. And what that's done is it's allowed more guys to be handlers, bringing it up and stuff like that, which may have made us a better, more complete offensive team by doing that early, or by doing that since Remy's been out and only playing with one guard, because that forces CB and Jalen and Oach to handle it more, which has probably been good for us over time that they have handled it more. So, but it'd be nice to have all our pieces back.
And in rebounding, it seems like more lately you're really dominating the rebounds. Let's talk about that and moving forward, and how would this team rebound-wise compare with your previous team?
I don't think that we would be considered one of the best rebounding teams we had, but I don't know that there's been a lot of teams that's out rebounded their opponents, 19 out of the 25 games or whatever it is. I think that's about it, isn't it? And the 3 games we did, and we obviously lost. So we've looked pretty good rebounding the ball, except when we've lost. Kentucky, that wouldn't have mattered. At Texas Tech, probably would have mattered some if we would have been better on the glass. And Texas, it definitely would have mattered in a one possession game if we hadn't been dominated on the glass in that game. So I believe we out rebounded Dayton. I could be wrong, but I think that we've done, maybe we didn't, but I think we've done a better job of doing that. I heard a TV announcer say this the other day: nobody blocks off anymore, and I 100% agree. people push rather than block. We got to, but I thought against West Virginia, I thought we did a better job of rotation rebounding. When somebody get beat or we go help, I thought we did a good job of sliding and having inside position. So I do think we're getting better at rotation rebounding. And I do think some guys are getting better blocking out. And we're not a above the rim rebounding team. So we have to be good at that.
What's been the big key for your ball screen defense improvement?
I would say 4 out of 5 times it would probably be because our bigs have been better getting to the level of the screen. You know, it's if you hit somebody and you can come off and there's 5 feet that you could do something before you feel any help, you can get downhill, you can cross up. I think we've been doing a better job of getting to the level of the screen. When we've been decent at it, that's what the biggest reason why I think we have. And if we did a better job of getting through the screens, that would also play a big factor. But I think our bigs have done better as far as getting to the level of the screen than we were earlier.
Do you think you guys did a better job screening open Ochai against West Virginia?
Probably. You know, he still only got off 6 looks, but I'd say we probably did. We probably did but it wouldn't take much to be better. But I still think we can get better than what we did. But I think it was certainly better than what it was.
Another player of the week for him. What do you kind of make of that? He's had 4 now this year.
Yeah, I think that, you know, he just got to finish strong and hopefully put a seal on, you know, the Big 12 player of the year. He probably, I know, no question, he's a front runner now, but he's still plenty of ball left. But yeah, he's had a very consistent year, really at a high level of consistency.
He likes to, you know, focus on what's ahead and team and all that stuff. Have you encouraged them to take a minute and soak all this in? And enjoy it?
No, I haven't at all. I've told him you're playing great, but now they're going to guard you different and all that stuff. And you know, he can reflect when it's all over. He knows he's had a good year so far, but in order to make good years special, you got to finish strong. And so that's what he's focused on doing.
Can he do it?
No, he practiced limited last Thursday and Friday. But you know, I don't have any update. So limited means he was out there in full contact, but only very few reps. So I don't know where that'll be today or whatever. It's almost to the point I don't ask because I know he'll get out there when he feels comfortable. But you know, it's if we're preparing like we definitely do not have, and then if something happens and we do, then that'd be a nice, pleasant bonus. But I'm preparing like we do not.
Talk about playing the one little guard. Obviously, you're trying to get to one rest whenever you can. What can Joe do? Just he is the true point guard there.
Yeah, I think probably let other people be point guards too. Whenever Joe is not thinking, he's pretty athletic and pretty effective player. Whenever he's got to think, okay, now where do I go? What do I do? How do I set this up? When 90% of the year he's practiced being off the ball, I think he wants to do right so bad that I think he doesn't want to screw up. That I think he kind of gets locked up a little bit, and it doesn't allow him to be himself. So I think as maybe taking some pressure off of him and letting other people do that, and then when he's in the game, you know, maybe not run stuff. You know, our offense isn't so complicated that it's really hard to remember or anything like that. But sometimes the plays can be. So maybe don't run as many plays, you know, things like that.
What do you like about the one?
And let me go back, but that's not in no way a knock to him. He's being asked to do something that he hadn't practiced. So, you know, you play the whole year thinking he's your 4th point guard because you have Remy and you have Bobby. And so and when Bobby was hurt, you still had Remy. So he's always been at best your 3rd point guard. So you practice him off the ball. So he just hadn't had many reps on the ball. That's what I was saying.
What do you like about having DeJuan and Joe out there at the same time?
Well, I think it definitely, Joe brings extra athleticism, quickness. I think we've seen that. little things like Juan didn't have to guard the ball coming up the floor, which, now that takes less toll on your body and your number of minutes you're playing than if you did that all the time. So I think they've been okay, and the other thing about Joe, he's so athletic that he's probably a better rebounder than his size too. He had a couple of great rebounds in Morgantown that really led to something. So
Coach,
is Bobby feeling any better? No. No, I would have played him if we would have had to play him in Morgantown. But he can't hurt himself worse. Okay. So we're not putting him in jeopardy, anything like that. But it's one of those deals where, and I've talked to him and his family about it. It's like it's a must only, because if you play and you don't need to, then the next day or two or three, he may not even be able to practice. So it's like one of those things that it irritates it when he does it. So we're going to try not to, but know he's available in a crunch time if we have to. No, it's the same thing. Yeah.
Coach, what's the message before this series where it's been so lopsided for KU? About half the guys really don't know anything about the series except for the first game where K-State had a big lead and couldn't do anything with that in the second half. There was a Jim Woldridge team that came in 2006 that wasn't very good, but they kept the score down and found a way to win with a game of the 50s. What do you tell guys before a series that's been so lopsided, but it's sports? I mean, we saw Auburn lose at Florida the other day, and they haven't won there in 14 tries or whatever. And the human element of sports means what from a coach to prepare for a game like this?
Well, I don't think our guys really give a crap, or do I, about what's happened in the past in a series. I think that's something that fans and media talk about. I think with Mitch, it's been a 12 or 14 game series, or 28 game series maybe with him. But he's been here 6 years, and this will be the 12th time we played. One was a red shirt, so that's 10, and then you add in probably 2 postseason games, that's 12. So to him, he would be the longest one. But our guys totally respect K-State, and they certainly respect how they competed and how they played against us the first time. They were the better team without question the majority of that game. And I certainly respect how well they're coached, and I respect their year and what type of year they're having. What are they, 6-8 in the league and could easily be 9-5, easily, something like that. So, and I know we won our fair share of close games, and they've lost their fair share of close games. And it's not that much difference in the teams when that happens. It's just, 1 or 2 possessions. So from CB and from Ochai and from Juan and those guys, there's enough commonality that with the players that they all respect, and they all believe them to be guys that can give us all kinds of problems. And they like their guys, from what I understand, and they spend time with them in the summer and doing all this. So there's certainly some mutual respect there that we have with K-State that we wouldn't have with some other schools, just because of our familiarity with their respective rosters. So I don't think we'll do our best to do everything we can to get them fired up and talk about the rivalry. But the reason they'll play so hard isn't because of the rivalry. The reason they'll play hard is because they know that they're dangerous, and they know they're, we've got to play them to get to the finish line again. And we know that they, could have very easily won the first game, maybe should have, but could have very easily won the first game. And so that has our attention even before you talk about the rivalry.
You got 14 strength, and Bruce was talking this morning about, maybe some people saying 12 only gets 5 or 6 in, and he thinks that's a shame if that happens. Where do you see this league as far as bids go right now? In K-State specifically, you've looked at it.
Well, K-State, to me, should be on the inside of the bubble right now, because what they've done in league. If our league is rated to be what it is, then you have to respect teams that are approximately 500 in a league that's as good as ours. And so I think K-State should be on the inside of the bubble. I know if they're successful tomorrow night, they would be solidly in the field. So this will be a huge game for them, just as it is for us. So it should be a very competitive, high energy game. But I like K-State's team. But Bruce is right. Saying 5 or 6 in this league would be penalizing a league that has no bottom feeders. You know, the leagues that give the appearance of being the best leagues are the ones where it's so top heavy and so bottom heavy. Because you could look at a league and said, well, you know, those 3 teams, there's 6 wins, or there's 5-1. And then you get in the tournament because you end up going 500 in your league because you get 5 or 6 wins against teams that have no chance to get in the tournament. In this deal, hey, West Virginia has a good chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And you know, they got to finish strong, and I'm sure Hugs would say that, but they've got a good chance to go if they finish strong. And so, you know, I think you can make a case that 7-11 would positively get you in the tournament. I think you can make that case. 8 and 10 is a lock. 7-11 should be. And if a team has an unbelievable non-conference and goes 6 and 12, you can make a case. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to happen, but I certainly you can make that case. But we look at leagues across America, and I'm not going to point out any in particular, but some that aren't near as strong, but because they have teams that won 20 games, they think that those teams are going to get in. But they haven't played the schedule that our teams in our league have, at least in an 18-game schedule. So Bruce is right. It would be awful if 5 got in because we beat the heck out of each other.
Oh, why is the Big 12 such a tough conference?
One thing that's in our league that is underrated is the quality of the players. Okay, but our league doesn't get as many high school All-Americans as some other leagues get. But you look at Texas Tech, and they got guys that, I mean, I hate to say this, I mean, that maybe weren't on very many top 50 or 100 lists coming out, and nobody wants to play Texas Tech. Absolutely nobody. And you could say that about other leagues too. The other thing is that the coaches in this league are superb. And I know other leagues have great coaches too. I'm not saying that at all. But across the board, I mean, you got to beat people. They're not going to beat themselves. And lastly, defense travels. And we got, you know, 8 or 10 teams in our league, and I won't even put us in that category yet. But I think we potentially could be that could win games by keeping the score under 60. The first 1 to 60 wins. And there's a lot of people in America that do not like playing against that style. So, and when you have teams, the first 1 to 60 wins because the defense is so good, it always keeps you in the game, but it can also keep the other team in the game. And that's why you have so many close games. And that's why you have so many 1 or 2 possession games. So it's a great league. It deserves all the credit that it receives in being a tough a league as it is.
What do you think about Mark's chances of maybe winning Coach of the Year?
National Coach of the Year. I would say he's definitely in the conversation. There's some guys out there that have had great years. Don't get me. I mean, Bruce at Auburn and Mark again, and you can make a case for Scott at Baylor. You know, and there's or Matt. You know, you can make a case for a lot of guys that have had their teams probably exceed what the expectations are. But I would say Mark has to be on the short list with everybody.
Did you see the fracas or whatever you want to call it in the Michigan game?
Yeah, I didn't see it live. I saw it right after. Yeah.
Did you have any reaction?
Yeah, it was bad. You know, hated seeing it. It's very unfortunate. And, you know, problem is that there's so many people involved in it. You know, a lot of players are going to be involved with something that had nothing to do between the lines. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I know everybody could wish they could hit the replay button on that one.
Any other Zoom questions? All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
Like,